On this episode of PB, we're going to be talking about the acquittal of President Donald Trump. We're going to be talking about the coronavirus, as well as China seemingly trying to entice Americans to continue to buy all of their products, regardless of the fact that, well, it could be tainted by the coronavirus. As well as Mayor Pete and Bernie Sanders running neck to neck in this caucus. And finally, I'm also going to be touching on the only Republican to define and cross party lines as pertains to Mitt Romney. So with that, this is Political Bloodshed, and I'm Mallery Williams. Let's get started.
A massive car bomb exploded outside of a large federal building in downtown Oklahoma City.
It's my view.
You can see the black smoke billowing out of the side of the Pentagon. It continues to billow out and cover much of the skyline here along the area.
Shows a Saudi security team killing Khashoggi inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul.
So for all of you that were glued to the televisions and your social media and your smartphones and all of the above in order to continue to watch and learn as much as you could about the hearings, the trial through the Senate, as well as if you're watching from the beginning. I know a lot of people were picked up more once it hit the Senate, but people like me and others, we were watching from the House of Representatives and as they were trying to get the articles of impeachment together, etc., etc., etc. I know it got really hot once it was handed over to the Senate. But here's the thing. We all knew how it was going to end. We all knew. So most of us, or a good plenty of us, we were there for the ins and outs. But for those of you who really didn't tune in because, well, you weren't interested, you were feeling discouraged, maybe you were just too busy with life as it is, this is going to be for you, probably more so. We're going to give you the nuts of it, and the abridged version, and, well, my version. So here's the thing. Let me say this. I have a problem myself, typically, reading books, watching movies, of which I already know the ending to. Now, we already knew the ending to this. It's no shocker. There was no mystery. There was literally zero suspense, I tell you, zero. You know, even if we would have a little hope, just a little hope that, well, maybe we're underestimating the Senate, and just maybe we're underestimating the whole process, and maybe, just maybe, people will cross party lines and really give it a fair shake. That really didn't seem to happen, aside from one, which we'll get into a little bit later. But I want to remind everyone, I mean, we all know the outcome. He was acquitted. Now let's hash it. Let's hash it about, shall we? I want to remind people that the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, was against this impeachment from the get-go. She wanted nothing to do with it. She wasn't going to touch it because, well, she's an experienced woman, very experienced in her profession, and she knew before she ever took this on, she knew the outcome, regardless of the evidence collected. I mean, this is the same man that literally said with full confidence, while running, mind you, that he could step out and shoot someone on Fifth Avenue, and who's going to hold him accountable? He's not going to lose any support. Who would say that? I mean, that was a pretty bold statement for someone running for the President of the United States at the time. Can we at least agree on that? Not to mention, I like to grab him by the pussy. So here's the thing. Those were two pretty bold statements for someone who hadn't even, I'm not even sure he had won the nomination at that point, to be honest. Even if he had, he wasn't president yet. So the cockiness and the confidence that this man had, that we all were scoffing at one point in time, many of us, and a lot of us were also cheering for that cockiness, just the same. But now, he has faced impeachment. The third president in the United States has faced impeachment, and this one was acquitted, went through the process. Unlike Nixon, he bailed. Now I think the difference is, as far as Clinton goes, I mean, he was pretty much done. He was pretty much through, if I remember correctly. But this one, he's only really just begun. And if any of us think that there's a very high probability that he's going to be there for at least another term, well, don't kid yourselves, don't fool yourselves. And because there's a high probability that that's going to happen. If anybody thinks he was naughty before, can you imagine how emboldened he feels now that he survived such an epic impeachment process, and I say epic process because it was in fact the biggest sham of all shams as far as putting on a dog and pony show. There wasn't even any pretending from the Republicans. When I say that, let's just throw it on Mitch McConnell's lap, shall we, to make it easy. I'm not even going to throw it in the lap of Lindsey Graham. We know what to expect from that little weasel, but let's just throw it in the lap of Mitch. Old Mitch couldn't even pretend that we're going to listen to the evidence. We're going to, I don't know, maybe at least have one witness. No witnesses. We're not calling anything. It is what it is. But how emboldened must he feel now? How unstoppable must he feel now? I've nicknamed Trump the Octopus, codename Octopus, because I think some people have problems visualizing what's happened here with him. So if you picture Trump with, well, the head of an octopus, which, no offense, it really isn't that far of a stretch, let's be real. But he's got his tentacles around the Department of Defense, Department of Justice, the legislative branch, pretty much. But he's got his tentacles around the judicial branch, including the Supreme Court, the Attorney General. He's got his tentacles wrapped right around his throat. So if anyone out there thinks that this person is just wanting to be the president, just another president, I say no. I say I've never seen a president so emboldened as I do Trump, specifically now after this, already gloating about acquittals and all that, which I will get back to Pelosi. This is why she didn't want to do it. Because Pelosi knows, she knows full well that this person has his tentacles wrapped all around every important agency and government branch there is. There's nothing he can't do. There's really nothing he can't do. So Pelosi was pressured. She was pressured by people in her party. Really, the pressure was turned up, which I understand. On one side, I understand. It's their duty. It is their duty. Hold the hearings. Hold the trial. If, in fact, the president was found doing questionable, harmful, out-of-sort things, in this case, self-serving, not only political, but financial ways and all that good stuff. This is the oath that these people have taken and continue to take to defend this nation to its fullest. She had to go ahead and just lead the charge on this and let the cards fall where it may, even though she knew it was going to fall. Which, in my mind, it just makes the president more emboldened, and I don't see that as a positive. Now, when I say I don't see it as a positive, I say that nonpartisan. I don't think any one person, even the president, should be emboldened to the level that he believes he is. It's dangerous. It's incredibly reckless for people like Mitch McConnell to relinquish and surrender his co-equal power to the president. And that's what he's done. Unity in that particular party is incredibly more important to them than unifying the country or even doing their best to fulfill and honor America's needs to the best of their ability in an honest fashion. So Mitt Romney, ladies and gentlemen, was the only Republican to vote guilty on Donald Trump. And I thought to myself, Jesus to God, Mitch. I mean, you're kind of like a heavyweight. I mean, you were a 2012 presidential candidate, for goodness sake. Certainly, you don't know anyone. You don't have any buddies in the Senate. You don't have like any lunch buddies, any golf buddies. I mean, you only needed what, 3? Three more, something like it. It wasn't a whole lot. You don't have just a few more buddies. You could be like, hey, listen, come here. I want to talk to you for a minute. Oh, what's up, Mitch? I want to talk to you. Come here. What if? Now, just hear me out. Hear me out. I'm thinking about voting guilty. What? Have you lost your mind, Mitch? Have you lost your... Just let me finish. I'm thinking about voting the orange octopus guilty. And here's why. 1, he's guiltier than sin. Okay? OJ looked more innocent than this guy did. True story. So, won't you join me? But if you join me, think about it. Everyone will be talking about us. We will be in the history books. It will be us 3 or 4 to take down a president in our own party who is a criminal. He's a criminal. He's guilty. Jesus to goodness, he's guilty. Let's take him down. Let's Let's not be followers. Let's be leaders. Let us then stand and say, some of us still stand for the country. And da 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 da. Think of the press we'll get. Think of the press we'll get. But Mitch, I'm up for re-election, and who cares? Think of the press. Think of the history. Think of the history books. I just can't. I can't. Well, I don't know. I'll think about it. Well, not one friend. Not one. Jesus to God. Mitch. I feel like I could have at least turned one. I could have flipped one person. Put me up in there. Put me up there for a day or two. Just turn me loose. Turn me loose. I feel like I could flip one or two of those people. Period. At least one or two. Alright? I'm gonna guarantee you one. I'm gonna flip one. I'm gonna flip one. Alright? And that's 2 days' work. But with all of the history and the connections that Mitch had, it was shocking that he wasn't able to get even one more. Just standing out there all alone with the sound of crickets from his people. Well, it wasn't. Listen, it wasn't 5 minutes after that. Well, here we go. Here goes Donnie Jr., y'all. Donnie Jr. was up on his Twitter, darling. Talking about, heads are going to roll. You know, just bad-mouthing Mitch. It's just very unprofessional. You have to go, why? Why are you going to be like that? I mean, your dad was acquitted, but you're going to focus on one man who voted guilty. But that's how they roll. See, that's how they can never just bask in what's good for them at the moment. I don't think they have it in their nature. I really don't. I think the whole family is like that. No matter how much things come up smelling like roses for them, they're constantly focusing on the dog turd over there in the corner that nobody's paying attention to anyway. Who cares? It's harmless. It's goddamn dog turd. It's not gonna ruin the party today, people. Just dance around it. Dance around the dog turd. Just put it out there. Okay, let's move on. Mayor Pete Buttigieg, Sanders, Bernie Sanders, crazy Bernie. Listen, they're running neck and neck, people. Think about that. I mean, it's kind of cool. For all of you who don't know, and let's just do a little reminder, a little update. History is at it again. So, Mayor Pete, the first openly gay man to run for the president of the United States. Okay. Now, listen, for me, we're in 2020. To me, that's hardly a thing. It's like, okay, and but it's still cool. I think it's still cool. And the fact that he was like a no-name. Who knew Mayor Pete? Who the hell knew Mayor Pete? I didn't know Mayor Pete for some time. Him and his lovely husband. But here's the thing. Running neck and neck for first place in Ohio. What did they say? Something about whichever way Ohio goes, so goes the presidency or something like that. I mean, that's a pretty astonishing. And then we have Biden way down at the bottom, pretty much. Oh, Biden. Well, here's the thing. I think Biden was cool as a vice president, right? And I'm going to sidetrack a little bit. He was cool as a vice president to Obama. He was like the crazy uncle, the cool uncle. Gonna punch you in the nose, whatever. Gonna get a little drunk at the party and throw some horseshoes and then I don't know, piss in the front yard. Whatever it is. To me, that's Biden. But I think like he passes prime. I really do. In my mind, if he was going to run, it really should have been probably against Hillary. He should have just went ahead and threw his hat in the ring then. Because he was fresh off the vice presidency. I understand he had a lot going on personally, but I just don't think... I think he's got a problem. And I think right now, I don't think that's his destiny. I think he's kind of dirtying up the water. Just, bow out gracefully, Biden. Bernie, here's the thing. I know there's a lot of Bernie lovers out there. I just think he's a bit on the old side. And I just think he's a little bit on the old side. Again, think about it, people. He's now 4 years older than he was when he was in 2016, and he was pretty goddamn old. He's pretty goddamn old. I don't know. And he's still the whole, that extreme. He wants to give away the house. You get a car, you get free food, you get free education. Everybody gets their light bill paid, which sounds wonderful in a fantasy. All of it sounds so good. I'm like, yeah, I'll sign me up. Sign me up. I want all that free stuff. I'll take it. But I also know reality, and I can't imagine Bernie Sanders, crazy Sanders, taking the. Can you close your eyes? Is that what you want? I mean, just close your eyes. Can you picture it? I mean, we couldn't picture Donald Trump. I get it. But let's just put the whole Trump thing aside since it happened. But can you really picture Sanders taking that oath of office and that inauguration and all that good stuff? I don't know. Let me be clear. I'm going to vote for whoever pulls that blue ticket. I'm voting. There's no secret where I land on this side. Let it be Mayor Pete. Let it be Crazy Sanders. Let it somehow be, who is, girl, what's her name? Warren. Listen, wonky. She is so wonky. That's my problem with Warren. It's not even so much what comes out of her mouth. I think she's got some really good ideas, and out of all of them, I think she's pretty well-rounded. I like her age. I like her age bracket. But her wonkiness, I have an issue with the wonkiness. She's just almost like a cartoon character. To be fair, so is Crazy Sanders. But there's just something very wonky about Warren that I wish she could kind of pull under control and just get a hold of herself a little bit more. Mayor Pete, never say never. I think Ohio is his home state, if I remember correctly, so it's kind of no surprising that they're backing him a little bit more than they probably would have, say, if he was from Florida. Who knows? And as far as that mess they got going on down there, it's been 2 or 3 days, and they still don't have all the tallies in, all the votes in. 2020 is not off to a good start. If this is any indication of what's to come, when we're just coming off the tail end of all this Russia nonsense of them trying to come over here and taint our election process and all that good stuff, and what's happening now. So when stuff like that happens, it's more fuel on a fire. It's not good. So very disappointing. I think the nation at this point is frustrated with whatever went down in Ohio regarding an app they attempted to use that apparently blew up in their face and didn't work whatsoever. They don't test this kind of stuff. I mean, can you take it for a test drive a couple days before? I mean, does anybody say, listen, I got an idea. Now, I might be crazy. What if we take this little app for a spin? Let's install a little practice mode on it. Let's get some people together. Let's recruit some people from all over. Let's send out a cattle call and have them come in, cast some fake votes, and have them help us out. Let's just see where it goes. Let's just see where it goes. No, apparently not. Apparently there was no practice run. They just went with it. And whatever happened, well, there it is. 2 or 3 days later, old Crazy Bernie and Mayor Pete just sitting there looking at each other. Mayor Pete already taken as many victory speeches as he already can. It's crazy, people. It's crazy. As soon as Mayor Pete saw himself for the first time ahead in that race, he started making his little victory speeches, which I have to say is it's both kind of tacky and desperate and genius at the same time. Because true story, but not for where he came from, which was basically nowhere. To think that he just arose out of the darkness, out of his little mayor chair, and what town was he mayoring in? I couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. Where the hell was he mayoring at? I don't know. Don't know. All the support that Byrne has out there, and that he's created for himself over the years, with all his grassroots, $45 average donation, whatever the hell number that was, y'all. You remember that? He was so proud of that. And here's Mayor Pete, neck and neck with him. So, there's that. Congratulations, Mayor Pete. Regardless who comes in first or second in that race, it is quite the accomplishment for both, actually. So, good for them. All right, let's talk about this virus coming out of China. This corona, how do you say it? Coronavirus, or whatever the hell it is. Listen, people, it's bad because there's already some conspiracies flying around. There's already fingers being pointed in every direction. China was doing some shady business over there. We know that. They were doing some shady business trying to keep this under wraps. While business as usual. Business as usual, because why? We have an economy to run over here, okay? We've got to get our products out. Listen, that's really what it's always going to come down to money, and I don't care what it is. It's always going to come down to money first. Virus be damned. People be damned. We got a country to run. They were arresting and threatening to arrest and probably, God knows what, throw some people in the river over there, the closest body of water, with some bricks on their little shoes. If they sit there and try to talk on their social media or take photos and get the word out, China wasn't having it. See, they don't have that kind of freedom of speech like we do up over here. They can't just take snapshots and start sending across the world. They can't do that. If Donald Trump stays in power too long, we might not be able to do that either. But you didn't hear that from me, y'all. I was just thinking out loud. So, as it stands, and this is February 6th, I think I like to round up. So there's approximately 600 deaths. And it's gone, I can tell you right now, in the past week, it's gone from 160 to 600. That is quite, think about those numbers. Those are just the deaths. The infections are in the thousands. Thousands. Multiply the weeks. If we've got, in this short of time, so many thousands of people infected with the virus, which, by the way, they've discovered it can be transferred from person to person without any symptoms, without anyone showing the symptoms, how scary is that? How scary is that? So, you know, you look at someone, they look perfectly fine. They might feel perfectly fine. You're shaking a hand, you're sitting next to them on a bus or public transportation, and 3 feet. That's the number. Within 3 feet, if you're standing within 3 feet of someone, you can have a possibility of being infected. But there was like 12 different countries. 12 different countries. This thing is going to become global. And I know tries people made to try to minimize air travel to certain airports and this and that. That's very difficult, especially with connecting flights. You know, you might not be able to get a flight out of here, but you can get a flight out of there. Or you can't fly from here to there, but you can fly from here to here, wherever it may be, and then catch another. It's bonkers, people. So I'm seeing people in my neck of the woods. Now I'm from Florida, Central Florida, and I'm seeing people here. And I'm not Miami. I'm not even in Orlando, you know, which is an international area. Listen, I'm in a retirement area where nothing goes nowhere, okay? There ain't no jetliners coming up in and out of here. But I'm seeing people wearing these little hospital masks. True story. Running around to the grocery store, up into the Walmart, where they're wearing these little hospital masks like they're over in China. I'm like, oh my goodness. Come on now. I mean, I get it. TV scares the hell out of us. It truly does. News scares the hell out of us, people. But I'll be damned. I'm just not. I'm not wearing this. I refuse. It's just too soon, okay? In my mind, what did I just say a little while ago? We have like 8 infections in the whole United States. I'm not going to be wearing a mask anytime soon. Just not going to do it. Or deaths, excuse me. No, infections. I don't think anyone's died in the United States. Sorry, trying to keep this all straight. So, I'm not going to be wearing the mask. If y'all want to wear the mask, you wear the mask. Whatever floats your boat. So they're saying the first transmission came from an open meat market over there in China, because animals are known to pass this to one another or whatever. It's rare that it's passed off to humans, but it's possible, obviously, and that's where they believe it happened, at one of these open air meat markets. But have you seen some of the things they eat over there? Have y'all seen it? You know, they eat some of the most crazy, sloppy, scary, half alive. Is it dead? Is it alive? I don't know. I can see through it. It looks like it's breathing. There's no wonder, like, the things that they consume. Yeah, we could pick up all this crap. Yes, we have a lot of processed food here. I understand. In the States, it's all about process, and we're nasty and we're fat for all this processed food. But let me tell you, people, we're not eating all this crazy thing off the bottom of the ocean. Literally, just things that nobody even heard of. Okay, we're not talking about shark. We're not talking about dolphin. You know, if you want to get a little exotic, we're talking about crap no one's ever seen before or pronounced. You get it off the bottom of a river over there, out of a lake. This is just the stuff that thrive in water. Forget about the stuff that's literally living under a rock. They eat some nasty things. They handle some nasty things. So when they say it came from one of those markets, I say, well, I'm surprised it took so long. Let's move on to China. Here we are. I told you, we're going to be talking about China, and they're enticing America. Apparently, they have just decided, how benevolent of them, to lower the tariffs on Chinese products. I believe the number was 75%, by 75%. Even if it was 50%, but I'm thinking 75. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that, America, you in trouble, girl. You in trouble, because that's going to be hard to resist, isn't it? That's going to be hard to resist. To have such a massive discount in inventory. All these businesses that collect all of their culinary items. Think about that. Their culinary items and whatever else goods that are handled over in China, manufactured, touched, shipped, whatever it is now going to be coming over here by the tons. I think that's fair to say, by the megatons, because it's basically 75% off. I mean, that's how I see the math. It's 75% off the wholesale price, right? So imagine the ability to recoup a lot of money, because, you know, if you've been paying attention, you know, all these tariffs up and down, and the tariff war between China and the States, and now suddenly they're saying, listen, we're going to cut our tariffs by 75%. So that you all keep purchasing our merchandise tenfold, because guess what? Ain't nobody else gonna be buying ours. You know what I'm saying? There ain't nobody else trying to buy our stuff either. So America, listen, it might be tainted. It might have some coronavirus action up in it. Just get yourself some hand sanitizer, which we'll sell you. Okay? Make no mistake. We're gonna send over several cards full of hand sanitizer at 75% off. Y'all be alright. Y'all be alright. We might even send y'all some extra masks too. How about that? 75% off. We got your size, we got your color. One size fits all. We got you covered. And all I can say to that is, holy crap. That's scary. That's scary. And if we had any kind of leadership in this country, what would happen right now, period, is we would suspend any transactions with China. There's nothing coming from China that we don't necessarily have to have. It's really that simple. If it's not a necessity to the survival of the people of America, whatever it is, if it is not an absolute necessity, we're not taking it. For now, we're not taking your clothes, we're not taking your phones, we're not taking anything that's been handled in China. Nothing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a moratorium on all that for a hot minute until we really get to the bottom of this outbreak and get this under control, and where we can feel assured and reassured that whatever is coming into this country of ours has an incredibly low risk to zero being infected with the coronavirus. I mean, I don't know. What do y'all think? What do y'all think? If you had to, I don't know, if you had to pay a little bit more from somewhere else to buy a smartphone or something else, but you're not going to get the coronavirus, what do you think? Let me know. Let me know what you think below. So there you have it. So I want to thank you all once again for joining me in this episode of Political Bloodshed with Mallery Williams. Until next time, stay informed, read, ask questions, and let your voice be heard. Take care.